All right, so now that we have some of these notes out of the way, let's get into some programming here. So in order to use a variable, we have to declare it. So to declare a variable, we set its type and its name. And that looks like this. So let's say that we wanted a Boolean variable. We're going to go Boolean door open. Okay? So from the rules of naming variables, it starts with a lowercase letter. It has another word in it, so that word starts with a capital letter. Okay? And then we put a semicolon to say, now the computer knows that I'm going to use this Boolean called door open. Okay? To assign that variable a value, or a variable, we use the equal sign. All right? And all your programming nerd friends call the equal sign the assignment operator. Okay? So programming nerds call the equal sign the assignment operator in Java. Okay? And so using the assignment operator, we can do something like, say, door open equals false. So I'm going to carve myself a little bit of space right here and try to print out door open. Okay. And I'm going to copy that and paste it down here. Okay. So right here, it's telling me that door open is an error. I can't print it out. But down here, it's telling me it's okay to print it out. So what's the difference between those two lines? Yep. Yeah, right? So right here, it doesn't have a value, okay? So I can't print out or use a variable that doesn't have a value. So this is giving me a syntax error. And the syntax error says the local variable door open may not have been initialized, which is another fancy way of saying given its first value. Okay? So right here, I'm going to comment that out and just give you guys a little comment to say this is syntax error because door open has no value. Okay? Whereas right here, now door open has the value false. So when I print this, if I run this, what do you expect is going to get printed? False. Okay, good. So this is going to print the actual value of that variable. It doesn't print door open. It prints what door open has as a value. So it prints false. So we can also declare and what's called initialize a variable in one line. Okay. So for example, if I wanted to keep track of my GPA, I could go double because that's a decimal number, right? Or a fractional number. So double GPA equals whatever it is, okay? 3.785, because I'm a nerd. Proud of it. Okay? And then again, if I wanted to print that out, I would print out GPA, and what do you expect that is going to print out? It's going to print out 3.785. Okay? So this time it print out false, and then 3.785. So let's talk about a few more examples. Okay, if I wanted to create a variable to keep track of like how old somebody is, right? That would be a whole number. Okay, and so what type of variable would we use to keep track of a whole number?
Integer.
An integer, right? So we'd go int age equals, and then put whatever your age is there. Okay. If we wanted to keep track of like someone's middle initial, okay, then we'd use a char for that. Okay. Characters, when we want to use characters, they need to go between two apostrophes. All right. So if I go char middle initial, I can say that that's equal to something, but I couldn't say it's equal to E like that, because E, the computer thinks that this should be a variable, E. So if I want to tell it, no, that's the character E, then I put it in between apostrophes, and now it knows, oh, you're just talking about the character E. Oh, okay, I can do that. All right. Strings need to go between quotations. So if string name equals was, is fine, right? I can't do was without the quotations because I'm telling this thing that it's a string. And now if I print out the name, it's going to print out what? It's going to print out was for me, okay? Put your own name in your notes. All right. To change a variable, we just reassign it a different value. Okay, so if I had to change my GPA, for example, then I would just go GPA equals whatever it is now, so 3.5, let's say. Okay, and then I can print it out again. Right? And so the first time I made it, it was 3.785. I printed out, it was 3.785. I reassign it a new value, and now it gives you the new value when you print it out that time. Okay? So same thing like if I wanted to reassign name. Okay? So say name isn't was anymore. Now name is going to be Tom. Okay? I just give it a new value. Now what I can't do is I can't put string in front of name again because name is already a variable and I can't create another one with the same name. We'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. Another thing I can't do is assign a variable a value that doesn't make sense for that type of variable. So we can only assign a variable values that match its type. So what do we mean by that? We can't take door open and assign it 6.7. Okay? Door open is a Boolean, so it can only be true or false. It can't be a number. All right? And so, like, the example that I always give to people is, like, ask me what my favorite color is.
What's your favorite color?
Elephant. Elephant is not a color, right? So then when you ask me that question, right, you're like expecting a type of answer, right?
Yeah.
And so the computer is thinking the same way. Like when you create a variable, it's expecting a type to go in that variable. You can't put a different type in there. Okay? So I'm going to comment that out and then just put a little note in there to say this is a syntax error. And the type of error that is a type mismatch. Okay? You can't put a number in a Boolean. Okay? Same thing like this. I can't go name equals true. Okay? True is not a what? What should name be?
String.
A string. Okay? I can fix that. So I can put quotation marks around it and say, well, now my name is true. Okay? But it has to match the type. Okay? And the last thing that we can't do is create a variable with the same name that we already have. Okay? So I can't make like another string called name. Okay? And I can't make a Boolean called name either. Okay? So no matter what the type is, I can't make a second variable that has the same name as something that's already been declared. So that's another syntax error. So we can't reuse names for variables. All right? I think George Foreman has like a number of sons that are all named George. Right? You can't do that. You can't do that in programming. Because when you say, hey, George, how many kids are going to come?